When I told my family I was pregnant, the room did not just fall silent. It felt as if the air itself had been drained from my lungs. My mother slowly placed her fork down. My father stared at the wall as if pretending I was no longer in front of him. My older sister crossed her arms and let out a sharp breath. Nobody asked me how I felt. Nobody asked if I was scared. Nobody asked if I needed help. After a long, uncomfortable pause, my aunt finally spoke. "You've ruined your life." Those 4 words cut deeper than any scream could have. And in that moment, standing in the dining room where I had celebrated birthdays, graduations, and holidays, I realized something terrifying. I was completely alone. The father of my baby had promised me he would stay. He held my hands, looked me in the eyes, and said, "We'll figure it out. I'm not going anywhere." But promises are easy when reality hasn't arrived yet. 2 weeks after I told him I was pregnant, his messages became shorter, then slower, then colder. Eventually, he stopped answering at all. I would stare at my phone for hours, rereading our old messages, wondering what I had done wrong, wondering how love could disappear so fast. I was 19 years old, pregnant, and abandoned. Within a month, my parents told me it would be better for everyone if I moved out. They didn't shout. They didn't cry. They simply explained it like a business decision. I packed my clothes into trash bags. I folded baby clothes that had never been worn. I stood in my childhood bedroom one last time and realized the place that once protected me no longer belonged to me. That night, I slept on the floor of a tiny studio apartment with cracked walls and a heater that barely worked. I placed my hand on my stomach and whispered, "I don't know how, but I promise I will protect you." I worked at a grocery store, standing 8 to 10 hours a day while pregnant. My ankles swelled, my back ached. Customers stared. Some whispered, some smiled politely. A manager gently suggested that maybe my condition made me less reliable, but I kept showing up. Some nights, dinner was just crackers and water, so I could save money for diapers. Some nights, I cried myself to sleep from exhaustion and fear. But every time my baby kicked, it felt like a reminder. I was no longer surviving for myself. I was building a future for someone else. The night my daughter was born, the world changed. When they placed her in my arms, something inside me shifted forever. I didn't feel weak. I felt powerful. I felt capable. I felt awake. Her tiny fingers wrapped around mine, and I made a silent promise. You will never feel unwanted. You will never feel abandoned. You will never feel like a burden. 6 weeks later, I went back to work. I enrolled in online classes at night. I studied while rocking her to sleep. I memorized lessons while warming bottles. There were nights I cried quietly in the bathroom so she wouldn't hear me. There were mornings I wanted to quit, but I didn't. Months turned into years. I earned certifications. I got promoted. I moved from cashier to supervisor, then into office work. We moved into a better apartment, then into a small house with a backyard. My daughter learned to walk there. She learned to read there. She learned to dream there. Other single mothers began asking me for advice. Soon I was babysitting, then tutoring, then helping women find jobs. Eventually, I opened a small home daycare. It became my business, my community, my purpose. We were no longer just surviving. We were thriving. Years later, my family began calling again. At first, just to check in, then to apologize, then to ask for help. My father was sick. My sister was struggling. My aunt was embarrassed. They stood inside my home and whispered the words I once needed. We were wrong. I looked at the walls I painted myself, at the photos of my daughter smiling, at the life they once thought was ruined. And I finally understood. They didn't destroy me. They redirected me. Some people lose you and never realize they were losing a miracle. But when they finally do, you are already gone and already unstoppable.